Hi Shubham, how are you?
I'm best, sir.
Okay. Can you tell us something about yourself?
My name is Shubham Otsar. I'm from Vani Yotmal. I have a totally 1.7 year experience in software testing industry. Currently, I'm working with investment banking domain project. I have experience in manual testing, automation testing by using Selenium, and I have good knowledge of Java. That's all about.
Mhm. Okay. So when you are introducing yourself, you can tell about any awards or any certifications that you have done, right? Or let's say in your career, you have been acknowledged for any defect or any bug that you have found recently or in last 6 months. So you can tell about those incidents as well. So this would create a positive impression right from the beginning of the interview.
Yes.
If someone is asking you to introduce yourself, that is a very, as such, it's a very simple question to understand.
Yes,
But
sir. I will keep in mind.
yeah, there are a lot of things involved in this. No worries. So any awards or any certifications that you have done recently?
No certificate, sir.
Okay, okay. In your entire career, have you done any certification related to software testing?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know about Selectors Hub?
Selectors.
Hub,
Hub.
Selectors Hub? Yeah.
Selector, don't know, but I am aware about CSS selector.
CSS selector. Okay, no. So CSS selector,
CSS,
XPath, yeah. So these are
yes,
locators, right?
locators.
While Selectors Hub is a plugin that would be available in a Google Chrome, and it would help you to identify XPath and CSS automatically. You don't need to find them manually. Currently, what we are doing, we are clicking F12 and we are inspecting the elements, right? And from that, we are identifying what is the XPath, what is CSS, right, for that particular elements. But using Selectors Hub, if you just click on use that plugin, you would be able to that tool will fetch all those locators for you, and then you can decide which locator you would like to go for, right? And it's a free tool, it's an open source tool. The
Open source.
certification is also available for that, so you can try for that as well. Okay,
Yes.
no worries. So make sure that at least in a year you do some sort of certification. One certification in a year, definitely you should try for. Okay. Now you were telling you are working on investment banking domain software. So what are the high level test scenarios that you are creating while testing such kind of applications?
Verify the user should able to buy
Hmm.
market order
Hmm.
price, and verify the user is able to search the stock in search search option,
Hmm.
and watch list is regular display or not,
Hmm.
and verify that user should able to add amount in that app and withdraw properly,
Hmm. Okay. What else?
and verify the fund tab button is working or not, and verify the user is able to place intraday order, long term order is placed, and verify the user is able to place a stop loss order or not,
Correct. Correct. What else?
and stock is fluctuation or not fluctuating
Hmm.
stock price.
Correct.
I check, and when we buy some stock, and it will show in the position option or not, and after day it is after to date it is settlement or not to buy the stock
Hmm.
in T plus 2 days.
Then these were the functional scenarios. Now, what about the non-functional scenarios?
Non-functional
Mhm.
scenario means we check the
Related to performance testing.
performance testing,
Mm.
verify if the number of users is able to handle or not,
Mhm.
and verify the stock where to buy the stock is at a, that means it's 100%. That's we can't buy the stock
Mhm.
if we place the order.
Correct.
It shows not, it shows 100%. We can't buy the stock.
Then what else?
And it will automatically our order is closed, our order is rejected after the market closing.
Mhm. Right. So apart from that, there are multiple scenarios. Let's say if you don't have sufficient account balance in your account, then you won't be able to purchase that much amount of stocks, right?
Yes,
Or let's say if you are searching for some XYZ stock, so whether that stock is getting displayed along with other, other details like what is the rate of that cost, what is the
quantity.
quantity, yeah, all those things available, right? Then what if a vendor or some agent is purchasing that stock? What if a normal person is purchasing that stock, right? So with respect to various users and various roles and permissions, those testing combinations also you need to apply. Okay. So that kind of thing you have to answer in an interview. Okay. Now, can you tell us something about your automation framework?
Automation framework. Yes,
Hmm.
framework is nothing but it is a systematic way and sequential way. We write the test script
Hmm.
for the automation testing of the application,
Hmm.
and we use TDD framework, test data driven framework,
Okay.
and it is the focus on separating the test cases and logic and separating and the test data from each other, and we can create test script by different sets of test data.
Mm-hmm. What else? So whenever you get this question of, explaining about your automation framework, you have to tell what are the various folder structure. Let's say you might have some resources kind of folder structure where you
Yes,
would have kept all those drivers, Chrome driver, Firefox driver, or any related browser related drivers. Then you have one utilities folder in which you might be
utility folder.
yeah. Then and then you might be having scripts folder where you would be keeping various kind of scripts which you would be using in your automation. Then there will be src slash main folder. There will be one of src slash test folder, right?
SRC test.
Then which kind of reporting structure you are using, right? Are you using TestNG by default report that is coming,
Testing.
or you are using extend report? What are
Extend
the
report.
right? What is the log4j logging mechanism that you have used, right? So are you using log4j? Have you integrated log4j in your automation framework or any other thing, right? Then you will be having some kind of properties file which would be having various details of various URLs, like this is staging URL, this is going to be production URL, this is going to be testing URL. And in that, you would be having a set of parameters like username, password, which you would be using based on the automation that you would be running. Then you will, which programming language you are using for developing your automation. Is it Java? Is it Python, C Sharp? Whichever language you are using. Then the another key thing that you can highlight is, okay, you were mentioning about TDD framework, right? So
TDD
yeah, framework. Then have you implemented POM, page object model?
form.x75. Yes.
Yeah, then Maven you would have used. Maven
Never.
dependencies, which are the external dependencies that you have used. Then how do you trigger your automation? Like do you use CI/CD or do you use any DevOps? How have you integrated DevOps with your automation framework? So this all things you need to tell. If someone is asking you about, can you tell us something about your automation framework? Your automation framework is an ocean, right? You need to, you can answer this question up to 10 to 15 minutes of duration also. And from that, the interviewer will come to know, okay, this person has worked on all these kind of levels. So he's having this much amount of knowledge. So automatically what would happen, your interview would be getting short because they will be having a positive impression. Okay, he's having good idea. He's having sufficient knowledge about automation. There are some people who are just telling, okay, they have done this, but actually in the practical manner, they don't have experience. But if you tell all these things, so they would be able to understand, no, he's having a genuine experience. He's not a fake resume kind of candidate, right? So this is how you have to explain. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's move to the next question. So in your resume, you have mentioned implemented agile methodology process in the project. So what was the methodology used in that project prior to agile?
Methodology.
Hmm.
We sir, work on agile model, agile methodology.
Okay. So you mean to say you are working on agile methodology, right?
Yes.
Let me share my screen. Hmm. Okay. So over here you have mentioned implemented agile methodology process in the project. So earlier, which methodology was used before agile?
V model.
V model was used. So how did you propose or how did you convince them to use agile methodology? Like did
Because
you
it is flexible than V model and waterfall model,
hmm.
and change request can be accepted at any stage in agile model,
So
and
did you
sprint based
convince
delivery is possible in agile
yeah
model.
so did you propose agile methodology and did you convince them to go for agile methodology?
Yes, it is a value driven model.
Mhm.
That means customer value is so important in agile methodology.
Right. See, so advantages of agile is one thing, but the question is, did you propose agile methodology in your organization, in your project, in your team? Did you implement agile methodology, or was it getting implemented earlier, and then you just you are following with other team members?
I can't implement, but I use.
Uh,
I suggested to use agile methodology.
okay,
But
you
it is
suggested them, so you
implemented.
proposed them to use agile
Yes.
methodology. So earlier agile was not being used.
No.
So so there will be some project managers, business analysts, right, along in your team.
Yes.
So how many years of experience they have?
They have.
Mm-hmm.
They have about 5 or 6 months above.
Okay, okay. Because see, this line is a bit confusing. If there are project managers, there are business analysts. So sometimes what happens, 90% of the teams are following agile only. This is the
Yes.
first instance that I have seen from your resume that you have proposed and you have convinced them for for going for agile methodology. So that's a good thing. Okay, so this thing you have to tell when you are introducing yourself, right? That you
Yes.
have proposed them and it has been followed. After you would have made some PPT, you would have convinced them, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is weekly status report?
What, sir?
What is weekly status report?
Weekly status report means I maintain weekly status report. That means data of the testing. That means test summary report. How much bugs are reported, and how much resolved bugs, and how many test cases fails, which are get stored in the test summary report.
Mhm. Okay. So how many members are working in your team?
There are 30
Contributing.
members. 30. We My team size is 30.
Hmm. Team size is
Uh,
30. And how many
Team size
software?
and seven developers,
Mhm.
4 tester, one scrum master, one project owner.
Okay. So it is 7 developers, 4 testers, one scrum master,
One
and
project owner.
one project. So around 14 to 15, right?
Yes.
So total count is 14 to 15, not 30, right? Okay, so 15 members are there in your team and 4 people are working in software testing,
Yes.
right? Okay. So do you review the automation script or the code that has been developed by some of your team members?
I review, sir.
Okay. So which are the various parameters or which are the various points that you take into consideration at the time of review?
Uh, that means all the requirements are getting properly stored or not, by looking into product backlog,
Hmm.
sorry, sprint backlog,
Hmm.
and we check who has written the test cases in properly or not.
Yeah, yeah. So see, the let me repeat the question. The question is, how do you review the code, the automation code that has been written by your team members? So test cases review is one thing, but automation code review is another thing, right? You have mentioned in your experience that you are reviewing the automation script, right?
Yes, we in framework we are
Yeah.
reviewing the
Right.
automations.
So which are the various parameters, which are the various key points that you will consider at the time of reviewing the automation script of your team member?
That means we check tools, TestNG tools with the help of, and with the help of Maven tools, we check test script is more readable or not,
Mm,
and it code duplication is occur, and it with the help of Maven we reduce the code duplication and improves the test maintenance.
mm,
And with the help of TestNG, we can generate a proper report, and we can easily come to know how many test cases fails, pass,
mm.
and
Hold on for a second. See, when this question is asked to you in a real-time interview, right? So how you will answer is at the time of code review, you would be seeing what kind of locators they have used, right? Let's say if they don't find name or ID, have they used proper relative XPath and not absolute XPath, right? At the time of code review, then you can also review whether the method that they have used from common. Let's say in many of the frameworks, if you have to perform some click, so there will be a click method that would be common in some kind of common methods. And if some part, so there will be these methods that would be common also. In some frameworks they are using control wise related methods, those also common, like text box related method would be common, checkbox radio
yes,
button related method would be common. So have they used common methods only, or they have implemented their new methods, right? Second, so third thing is, at the time of reviewing their code, you can review that whether they have used soft delay, right? Maybe implicit wait, explicit wait, depending on the scenario, but they haven't used thread.sleep, right? So fourth point would be, they have used soft assertions, right? And very important that they have used assertion.assert all at the end of the script, right? Which will determine that all the checkpoints, all the assertions have been validated once the script is running, right? So this is how you have to answer this kind of question, right? Because it's mentioned in your CV that you are reviewing the automation script, right? And
yes,
at the end, you can also tell that after reviewing their code, I'm I'm asking them to run the script end to end, so that I can come to know, okay, the script is running end to end. It would run on any machine, or you can also ask them to run on some particular virtual machine on cloud, right? This is how you can explain.
yes.
Okay. So moving to the next question, how you will identify test cases for automation?
Identify test cases.
Hmm.
By
Yes.
using XPath.
Okay. So identification of test cases for automation means you will see whether these test cases are being repetitively to be executed or repetitively to be tested. So then automatically those test cases, those test scenarios would be eligible for automation, right? Or some particular business scenarios are there, uh, because of which if we don't test them, then we cannot release the product, right? So those are very important for automation. Okay. Okay. Now, can you tell me high level test scenarios for, let's say, if you have got some API to be tested, so how you will test that particular API?
API test.
For API testing, let's say if you have received one API of create user, right? So how you will test that API? What all things you will
Verify
test?
verify that either it's able to show proper response time,
Hmm.
and verify the user state verify that user is able to show response different status code, that is 200 series, 400 series, 500 series.
Hmm.
Is the response getting properly or not? And response time, response body is able to show properly or not?
Hmm.
Validate, we validate. And the failed test cases,
Okay, what else?
and it is a verify that user is able to show sequencing time and input or output verification and validation and call sequencing and verify that user is able to show parameter selection, parameter combination. These are the challenges we check.
Okay. Okay, in your resume, in roles and responsibilities, it has been mentioned that you are creating test deliverables required by the company and project testing standards. So what does project testing standards mean over here?
Project testing standard.
Hmm.
That means we perform different types of testing,
Hmm.
and we are the part of that particular module and preparing the test cases, test scenarios, logging defects, test case review.
Okay. Which are the other standards that is being followed? So let's say types of testing, functional testing, non-functional testing. This would be,
Functional.
yeah, this is a, this is our day-to-day work, right? But what are project testing standards? So I'm interested in what standards you are following. Any best practices related to software testing, any standards that you are following. So you can share these things. Hello, Shubham, am I
Hello.
audible? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so so you can prepare for this answer based on the standards, testing standards you are following in your company. See,
Yes, yes.
whatever things that you have mentioned in your CV, right? You will definitely get questions on these things, right?
Yes.
It happens, sometimes the interviewer does not ask related to the things in the CV, but 80 to 85% definitely you will get questions for sure. Whatever things you have mentioned in the CV, those at least you should be very thorough with those things. If you are not clear, then you can avoid keeping in the CV, because as such also no one is going to come and see in the company what you are actually doing, right? But if you have mentioned all these things in your CV and if these questions are asked, then you have to answer them in an interview, right?
Yes.
Okay, Shubham, I am done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Mm, what's our feedback? What improved
Okay.
in my
Okay, so feedback is, as I have mentioned just now, that in the resume, you have to keep those things only for which you are properly aware of, right? If you have knowledge, then only keep those things in the CV. Second thing is don't get nervous, right? I think you are getting nervous, and that is why you're not able to recall the answers. Maybe you know the answers.
first interview, sir? That's
Okay, this is your first interview, right? Right. So don't get nervous at all, because this was still a mock interview. Even if you are not able to answer, I was giving you the answer so that in a real time interview, if you get such questions, you would be able to answer, right? But in a
okay.
real time interview, when actual interview is going on over there, they won't be giving you the answers. They will be just asking you questions one by one, and they will be evaluating. They will be quickly doing the analysis whether this person is fit for the job or not, right? So you have to be prepared, right, for that thing, right? I think you had sent your CV on 24th of July, right? Today is Saturday, 30th of July. So you had time, 5 to 6 days. So you should have prepared. Whenever you have interview, try to be prepared and then focus with a calm mind, right? Otherwise, if you are, taking tension or you are getting nervous, so automatically you won't be able to recall the answers. Okay. Okay, no worries, Shubham. I hope this was a good learning interview for you,
Okay, sir.
right? And all the best for your career, right?
Thank you, sir.
Please share our channel link and
Okay, sir.
videos in all your network with all your friends.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shubham. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Have a nice